Yo, what's up guys? It's Noah here, and in today's video, gonna be talking through some MLB player props I like for today on Prizepicks for Wednesday, July the 27th. We got a decent sized Wednesday slate. Do have a lot of early games today. I think we have 12 games total today, and of the 12 games, I think 8 of them are during the afternoon between like 12:30 to 3:30 Eastern time. We only have a few night games, so we do have some plays coming from these early games. I did want to go ahead and get this video posted the night before, get it up on Tuesday night, so that way hopefully most of you guys will be able to get all these plays in before these games start. But yeah, we'll talk through our plays for today. I found 3 props I liked, taking a first look at the board on Tuesday night. Thankfully, Prizepicks does have pitcher props up already, so I was able to kind of dig into the pitcher props. Yesterday, they took a while to get their pitcher props up, so we just did hitter props yesterday in our entry, and that did not go well. We'll recap our entry in a second, but yeah, guys, before we get started talking through our plays for today, as always, please hit that like button down below, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet. Also, if you are new to Prizepicks, make sure to check them out. Sign up with promo code NOAH. When you do sign up with my promo code, Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100. And I'd highly recommend you check them out, especially if you bet player props on a different DFS site or on a sports book and you haven't given Prizepicks a try. Make sure to check them out. Use that promo code. See all the props that Prizepicks has available for MLB. Obviously, their full board is not posted yet, just because it is Tuesday night when I'm making this video. They'll add more props though as we get closer to the start of the games on Wednesday. You can take a look at all the props that Prizepicks has available for other sports as well. They do offer a ton of other sports outside of just MLB, so make sure to give them a try. Use that promo code when you sign up. And another thing, we'll recap our plays from Tuesday. Gave out 3 props on Tuesday. Again, there were no pitcher props up when I made my video Tuesday, so we just did 2 hitter props, and then we took a Nerfy. The Nerfy did hit though. That was the one prop that did hit. We did hit the under first inning runs in the Astros and Athletics game. Actually, I do believe that Nerfy got taken off the board. So I don't know if you guys were even able to get that in, because Prizepicks, they've been really picky with what first inning props they put up, like right now. So there's 12 games I think or there's like 13 games on Wednesday, and like Prizepicks only has 11 first inning options available. So like there's 2 or 3 first inning runs props that are not available. I guess Prizepicks just choosing not to offer them, which is kind of annoying. But the Athletics and Astros Nerfy that we took on Tuesday did hit. Sadly, though, the over on Charlie Blackmon's fantasy score did not hit. Charlie Blackmon went 1 for 5 with a double, finished with 5 fantasy points when we needed 8 fantasy points from him. The Rockies only scored 1 run against Michael Kopech in Coors Field. That's a spot that I would continue to attack. I felt like that fantasy score was definitely too low for Charlie Blackmon in a pretty good matchup at home in Coors in a very hitter-friendly ballpark. And that's just the volatility that comes with playing hitter props. Even when teams are in the best spots and you think that it's a spot where they should put up a lot of runs, you just never know with baseball. There's definitely a lot of variance with baseball, and especially when it comes to hitters. So unfortunately, Blackmon did not come through for us. And then Brandon Lau, we took the over on his fantasy score. The Rays, they didn't put up many runs. I think they only scored 3 runs on Tuesday. Spencer Watkins really, he pitched all right. Didn't pitch great, but he did enough. And Brandon Lau just went 1 for 5 with a single, finished with 3 fantasy points. So that was super annoying, super tough. I did say, though, to play light on Tuesday's slate. So hopefully you guys, at least played light on the entry, even though we took a loss. But we got 3 props for Wednesday. We got some pitcher props to talk about. So we're going to start off in the pitcher fantasy score category, and all 3 props that I like for today are going to be pitcher fantasy scores. The first one that I like is going to be coming from one of these early games. Going to be going to a pretty friendly matchup here for Yu Darvish, and I'm liking Yu Darvish's over 41.5 fantasy score. I know this number does seem pretty high, but I think it's for good reason. It's a really good spot here against the Tigers. The Tigers are a team that I just will continue to attack with opposing pitchers. They have a very weak offense, and they're also a team that strikes out a lot. Versus right-handed pitching this season, Detroit has the 5th highest K rate on the year, 24.1% K rate, and all of their offensive metrics are terrible. I mean, they're towards the bottom of the league in every offensive category. Batting average, they're second to last in batting average. In terms of on-base percentage, Detroit is second to last in that category. In terms of slugging, they are dead last in slugging. OPS, Detroit ranks dead last in OPS. They rank dead last in ISO, and they rank dead last in WRC+. Like this team has just really struggled against right-handed pitching this season. Obviously, Yu Darvish is a really good pitcher. He's not had like the elite numbers that he used to have a few years ago, but he's still been a solid pitcher. 23.7% K rate, pretty low 5% walk rate. Again, his numbers are not like as good as they used to be, but I think in this matchup against a very weak Tigers offense and against a Tigers team that does strike out a lot, this is definitely a spot we could see Yu Darvish go like 7 innings, pitch a shutout, get like 7 or 8 strikeouts. Maybe he's able to get a win as well. I was debating taking his over fantasy score versus over strikeouts. Right now, his strikeout prop is set at 7. I think there's a pretty good chance Darvish gets close to, if not goes over 7 strikeouts. I think for what it's worth, though, I'm pretty sure every start Darvish has made this season, every start where he's gotten over 7 strikeouts, he's gone over 42 fantasy points. And there's been a few starts where he's gotten, I think there's been one or two starts where he's gotten less than 7 strikeouts and still gotten 42 fantasy points. Like recently against Arizona, he went 7 innings, had 5 Ks, but still got 43 fantasy points. Every start, though, where he's gotten like 7 or more Ks, I think for the most part he's gone over fantasy. So that's the one reason I like fantasy and not Ks. I think Darvish can definitely hit both in this matchup. But Darvish is a guy that can usually pitch pretty deep into games. He's pitched at least 7 innings in 3 straight starts now. He probably will get a quality start here. Maybe he gets a win as well. I think 42 fantasy points is definitely reachable for Darvish in this really good matchup. And this is a spot where he should definitely be able to rack up strikeouts. Hopefully he can pitch deep into the game. Shouldn't give up, but maybe a run or two. If he gives up more than like 3 runs, I'd be really surprised. I mean, if he gives up over 3 runs, we probably are going to lose. But I think it's definitely a spot we should expect Darvish to pitch well, not give up many runs, definitely rack up some strikeouts, maybe get a win. Definitely should get a quality start. So I like his over fantasy score as that's going to be our first prop for today. And then the next prop is going to be another matchup play. Really like this matchup for Brad Keller, and I'm going to be taking his over 24.5 fantasy score going up against the Angels. Now, Brad Keller, I mean, he is not that great of a pitcher, I'll be honest. You look at his numbers on Baseball Savant, like, there's not much that stands out from Brad Keller. I mean, in terms of average exit velocity, in terms of expected ERA, expected batting average, like, he's about middle of the pack. He does have a pretty low K rate. He's not a guy that really gets many strikeouts. Just has a 15.8% K rate this season. Does do a good job, though, of limiting hard contact. In terms of his barrel percentage, that ranks pretty highly, 83rd percentile. Doesn't give up a ton of barrels, a ton of hard contact. This is a matchup, though, where we should expect Keller to pitch well enough to get 25 fantasy points. I mean, Keller, again, is not a great pitcher by any means, but the matchup is just so good. The Angels have been terrible this season, especially as of late, and especially without Mike Trout. This is just such a weak lineup. I mean, you can look up and down in this Angels lineup. There's not many scary hitters outside of Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani's the one guy that you definitely worry about that can do some damage. But man, like a lot of these guys, especially at the bottom of that lineup, it's just a really weak lineup. I mean, Velasquez has a 36% K rate this season, and he has a 115 ISO and 202 WOBA versus righties. Phil Gosselin, I mean, he's got a 190 WOBA versus righties and a 28% K rate. Joe Adell has a 40% K rate against righties. Like, there's just so many strikeouts in this lineup. It's such a weak lineup in general that I think Brad Keller can definitely go 5-6 innings, maybe only give up a run or two. Probably should at least get like 3 or 4 strikeouts. This was another spot where I was debating taking Brad Keller's over 24.5 fantasy score or his over 4.5 strikeouts because his K prop is set at 4.5 right now. But I did take a look at his game log, and so far this season, in every start that Keller has made, every start where he's gotten at least 5 strikeouts, he's gotten 25 fantasy points. And there have been some starts this season where he's gotten 25 fantasy points, but not 5 strikeouts. Like one start this year against the Blue Jays, he went 6 innings, had just 4 strikeouts, but finished with 25 fantasy score. But yeah, every start where he's gotten 5 Ks this year, he's gone over 25 fantasy points. So I think that's the reason I like fantasy for Keller and not his over Ks. But I think it's another scenario where you could definitely see him go over both. The matchup's just so good. This Angels lineup is so weak. They strike out a ton. You look at where they rank, like over their last 30 days, when they've been without Mike Trout. I mean, they still have the highest K rate in the league, and their offensive numbers are towards the bottom of the league. They have the second worst batting average versus righties over the last 30 days, second worst on-base percentage. In terms of slugging, they're bottom 4 in that category as well. Third worst ISO. The Angels are second worst in terms of WRC+. Like when it comes to facing right-handed pitching, the Tigers and the Angels are 2 of the worst teams in the league. So these are 2 matchup plays I like. Darvish against the Tigers, Keller against the Angels. I know Keller's not the best pitcher, but obviously he doesn't have a super high projection. I mean, it's not like his fantasy projection is 35 or 36. I mean, it's 24.5. If Keller gets a quality start and gets like 2 or 3 strikeouts, he's probably going to get 25 fantasy points. And I think against the Angels, he can do that. So I like his over fantasy score as our second play for today. And then our third and final play, going to be going to one of the night games, one of the later games. We're going to be taking Max Scherzer's over fantasy. Love this play. I think this projection, even though it's a tough matchup against the Yankees, I think this is a too low of a projection for Max Scherzer. Like, Max Scherzer is an elite pitcher. He's one of the best pitchers in the league. And this is a fantasy score line that Max Scherzer has gone over in almost every single start this season. Scherzer has made 12 starts so far this year. He's gotten at least 37 fantasy points in 10 out of 12 starts. In the 2 starts where he did not get 37 fantasy points, he had 34 against the Phillies, and he had 32 against the Cardinals. So Scherzer's made 12 starts this year. He's had at least 32 fantasy points in every single start this season. I know the Yankees have a good lineup, and they definitely have a lot of power, but this is still a team that will strike out quite a bit. If you look at where the Yankees rank so far this season in terms of strikeout rate versus right-handed pitching, we'll pull up 2022 just so you guys can see the full season. The Yankees, in terms of K rate, I believe they are towards the middle of the pack, or they're actually a little bit more towards the bottom. I thought the Yankees did have a higher K rate versus righties. It might be versus lefties. So far this year on the season, 21.4% K rate for the Yankees, which is tied for 20th. So the K rate's not as high, but let's take a look at the lineup individually for the Yankees, and let's see some of the strikeout rates for some of these guys. Like, obviously, Aaron Judge is a super dangerous hitter, but he does have a pretty high K rate, 23.5% K rate this year. Josh Donaldson's been striking out quite a bit, 28.8% K rate. I mean, if Joey Gallo's in the lineup, I mean, he's almost a guaranteed 3 strikeouts going up against Max Scherzer. Like, I mean, if Joey Gallo gets a hit versus Max Scherzer, I would be very surprised. Like, those should be 2 or 3 easy strikeouts for Scherzer. He can definitely get some strikeouts against Donaldson, Judge. I mean, Scherzer's an elite strikeout pitcher. So even though there are some guys in this lineup that don't K, like Anthony Rizzo, DJ LeMahieu, Connor Falefa, Scherzer is such a good strikeout pitcher that it doesn't matter. Like, he can still strike these guys out. He's been able to rack up Ks against every team that he faces. And this 37 fantasy point line is one that Scherzer has gone over in 10 out of 12 starts this season. That's something that I do want to reiterate. Scherzer's a guy that's going to always pitch pretty deep into games. He always has a pretty long leash. He can throw 100, 105, 110 pitches. He'll go 6-7 innings. Usually he doesn't really ever get beat up. I mean, the most runs he's gave up in one start this season was against the Phillies. Scherzer gave up 4 runs to the Phillies. Still got 39 fantasy points. Like, he still went over his fantasy score in that start. Had 9 strikeouts. This was another scenario where I was looking at Scherzer's fantasy versus strikeouts. But it's a scenario where Scherzer, in all of his starts this season, where he's gone over his K prop. So his K prop for today is set at 7.5. Every start that Scherzer has gotten 8 strikeouts this season, he's gotten 37 fantasy points as well. So I feel like if Scherzer goes over his K prop and gets 8 strikeouts, he's probably getting 37 fantasy points too. If he doesn't get 37 fantasy points, that probably means that he gave up like 3 or 4 or 5 runs, which against the Yankees, is it possible that Scherzer gets beat up a little bit? I mean, it's possible. But usually when you have situations like this where you have an elite pitcher against a good team, I'm almost always going to side with the elite pitcher. I mean, Scherzer's one of the best pitchers in the league. His numbers are fantastic. He has one of the highest K rates in the league. He doesn't walk batters. He does a pretty good job limiting hard contact. Maybe Aaron Judge hits a solo home run off Scherzer. Maybe Anthony Rizzo hits a home run off him. But I think Scherzer's such a good pitcher that he can still get through this Yankees lineup, can definitely rack up strikeouts and get us 37 fantasy points, which is something that he's done in almost every start this season. So I like that as our third and final play for today, over 36.5 fantasy score for Max Scherzer. So this is what I'm liking for Wednesday's slate, guys. We had a tough day on Tuesday, just went 1-2 on our 3 plays Tuesday, but I'm feeling a bounce back coming for Wednesday. I do like these plays quite a bit. I feel pretty good about these. And when I took a first look at the board on Tuesday night, these were the 3 props that I think I like the most out of all that's available. So I'll take a look at the board once again on Wednesday afternoon, try and find some more plays I like. And if I do find more plays I like, usually I'm able to, I will share those over on Patreon. So if you guys do want to get access to my additional Prizepicks plays that I like, you can check out the Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. But as always, guys, thanks for watching the video. Hit that like button. If you did enjoy, hit that subscribe button before you do get out of here. Also, check out Prizepicks. Make sure to sign up for Prizepicks and use promo code NOAH. When you do, Prizepicks will match your first deposit up to $100 when you do sign up with my promo code. But as always, guys, good luck. Wish you the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next video. Peace.